Hey, welcome to the Helpful Home Inspector Show Saturday morning. We're up here in Hartford, and today we have got Dustin, our guest host, in here. Dustin, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good. So you had a shovel and icy morning, I take it?
I did, yeah.
All right. And we also have Dave Didier from Flanners Home Entertainment. Flanners Home Entertainment, all your home entertainment needs. You can get them out at the Grafton store. They're in Colders, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You go right inside the door and go into the left, and there's Flanners. And
can't miss us.
Yep. Lots of good stuff in there to let you, tweak out your home as best you can, and lots of good suggestions and information that they have out there for you. And Dave's going to share a little bit of it with us today. We're going to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. Mike, last week we talked about septic systems, and there was a great video on that. If you want to go out and you can check that out on YouTube, or you can listen to the podcast of it. We also had Debbie Nickel win the giveaway. She won the $20 gift card to Menards, so thank you for checking us out, Debbie. We're still going to do the defect of the week. We're still going to have your save a buck. We're going to have a tip of the week, all that kind of stuff. We're going to do that a little bit later because Dave has a heart out. The store opens at 10 o'clock, and he is the man, so he's got to jump out of here by 9:30. But we're going to get whatever we can out of him before that. So we're going to jump right into our main topic here. So the main topic today is going to be surrounding around smart home technologies and home automation, home Wi-Fi, the tech in your house. When we get into smart home technologies, it's a very broad swath that it covers. So there's your televisions, there's your speakers, there's your pet feeders, there's sprinklers, there's all kinds of
you name it
stuff that's available that falls under what a lot of people would consider the smart home field or area. Okay. Now, as far as smart goes, it gets thrown on a lot, right?
Well, there's apps for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there are apps for everything. We have a Nest garage door opener that it's cool because I can see if my garage door opener is open from anywhere in the world. Yep. Like when I'm driving up, when I come to a stop sign, I load up my app, and then as I get a block away, I hit open and the garage door's open.
There you go.
I don't even need a button like from
or if somebody's coming to drop something off at your house or whatever that's big, you can just open the door for them or whatever, or if it always happens with Tammy and I, we're leaving the house. Did you shut the garage door? I don't know. Did you? I don't know.
Check the app,
and if
it'll tell you.
If you didn't, boop, close, and you're good. But it also can be a way to let you know when your kids get home and all that kind of stuff from school, if that's how
great way of spying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Smart does get thrown around a lot. And with smart technologies, a lot of times in the business world, the word smart in front of whatever you're selling sells for more money. Right.
Typically,
Typically means it's going to be worth more money. It's going to have more features. It's going to do
more stuff.
Yep. And it's going to have an app associated with it, all kinds of stuff. As far as smart technology, what we're normally considered smart technology is self-monitoring, analysis, and reporting technology. Things that can do things on their own without your interaction is what I would think of as generally a smart technology. Things that not necessarily can think, but can
operate
or do a series of operations on their own with minimal input from you.
Yes.
But a lot of times people put the word smart on things that aren't necessarily like that. So when it comes to smart technology, there's a difference between smart technology and home automation. So home automation is what a lot of times people will call smart technologies. But
right, home automation is more involved with, like, you have, like, we set up company called Universal Remote Control, where we can put on a tablet your television system, your audio system, your garage door opener, your lights, and then you can control that from your phone. You can put it on a tablet. You can control it from anywhere again.
Yeah.
You can see your camera, that your Nest or whatever you have aiming on your front door.
Right from there.
And right from there and see it all.
Do you guys do blinds too? Or blinds can be put onto it, but it's not something you guys...
Yeah, that's not our forte. We're more in the audio video world.
Yeah, but it can all be worked into the same tablet.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So home automation, smart technologies. Just to run through a quick list of what I threw down. We got thermostats, garage door openers. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing. We don't have one in our house. We've already talked about getting one. I'm like, I really should, but we see them all the time. It's a cool thing to have for sure. Door locks, where you're walking up to the house and the door automatically unlocks and stuff. Pet feeders, lights. Do you guys do the lights? Mm-hmm. You do the lights all on the same tablet and stuff when you're doing the speakers and stuff?
Yep, so you can set up scenes too, like in a theater room where you could hit a button and it'll dim the lights.
Yeah, that was one of the other things that we were going to talk about, NFC tags. So these little guys are things that Scenes is an app, I guess, right? Where you can set up automations and things like that to be automatically do things. So if you were to walk into a room and you scan the app, whatever, you can make your TV screen come down or lights go on.
Screen,
this is just a different option, but the tablet is the way that you can set up the scenes. You just push it on the tablet, you know.
And it's all programmed to operate so the screen will come down, the lights will dim, and it's on a timer, like it's timed. You'd obviously want your screen to come down in time with your projector turning on and warming up. Your stereo system turns on, your lights dim.
So when it's all done, it's ready to roll.
Sit down and enjoy the movie.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, instead of having to do 15 remotes.
Well, the old school way was, turn on this, turn on this, turn on this.
That's what I got to do still, yeah.
Get in the now.
I know, right? I should. Jump in
Call
on
Flanners.
it. Call Flanners. Get on it, Matt. Yeah. Well, when you guys started, you guys were down in Brookfield.
Yeah, we've been in business over 100 years.
Yeah.
So we still have a store on Blue Mountain Road. In West Dallas.
Okay, yeah.
Inside the Kohler store in West Dallas, and then the one in Grafton, which is the one I'm at.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. And as far as Flanners go, you guys have done a lot of things over the course of that 100 years, though. There wasn't home automation back in 1920 or whatever, you know.
Well, as I was telling you, my first day at work, I was testing tubes.
Yeah, like vacuum tubes.
Come a long way in 43 years. Yeah. And it's just evolving over and over, like it's never ending.
Constantly new stuff.
And not always getting easier either. They make it seem like it's easier, but as someone who sells the product, it sometimes gets harder.
Yeah.
Like learning it and learning how to use it and learning the proper way to use it, because there's the right way and there's the wrong way.
Yeah. Have you seen the owner's manual for each of those little
I don't
things?
know.
It's insane.
I look at the app.
Yeah, look at the app and just work through it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the smart technologies and the things that have gone on with that, lots of times they still have a lot of overlap and things like that. Well, we were talking about radio signals and stuff if it's if everything broadcasts on 2.4 gigahertz, well, you're going to have confusing signals and there's going to be glitches and things like that. Where if you have a greater difference between what each thing broadcasts in it, it probably would be smoother. But they're only allowed to use what is it
5G and 2G, something like that.
Something like that. And I mean, I think that's not necessarily set up by the individual technology. It's set up by the arena. So the FCC.
Well, and more products are being Wi-Fi based, so we can't stress enough to get the strongest Wi-Fi you can afford in your house and full coverage. Yeah. Not just one modem and router. We need it everywhere in the house.
Using extenders and stuff like that. Yeah, we're going to get into that stuff later.
And there's, again, the right way and the wrong way to do that.
Yeah, there is for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have up at our cabin, we have Wi-Fi in the house, but we could never get it outside into it. We have a 40 by 60 pole building up there, and so we never could get it out there. And so then I was like, well, let's get some extenders. So we basically piggybacked a bunch of extenders and got it out to the garage. Yeah. And so now we could watch TV in the garage. We could do whatever. We could listen to music out there and have all kinds of fun stuff. Smart technologies lots of times can also get into sprinkler systems, air purifiers, home humidification systems, lots and lots of different stuff. Scenes, most smartphones have scenes on them, right? You can set up home automation things on your phone in scenes.
Yes.
For iPhones and Android and stuff.
Tablets.
Yep, tablets and all that kind of stuff. You just have to go into probably a search for it. It's usually going to look like a little house with a bunch of lines in the middle of it. What's the most common control system you guys are using?
We saw a company called Universal Remote Control. It's for us the easiest one to use because it's pretty reliable. Like we don't have to do service calls. Once we get it set up properly the first time, it's done. And it's simple to use too. We train it, we install it and set it up per each client. So everybody's different. Every system is different. There's no two the same. Sure. So we just set it up the way the client needs it. Like you hit a button on the remote, it says turn on TV, turn on stereo. And the cool part is you don't have to aim it. You just like I have mine sitting on the floor and I literally hit down and push a button.
As long as you're in the Wi-Fi bubble.
Yeah.
Right?
Or RF, the radio frequency for turning on the products and stuff.
Sure. And now, as far as the tablet that like Dave's talking about, basically I was doing an inspection. I go into a model home. I forget who the company was that was doing it, Halen or something like that. And I go in there and the lady's like, here's the tablet to control all the lights and stuff. I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, don't see this very often, But yeah, it was very intuitive, very easy to work through and stuff like that. But you can control all the lights, the speakers, the TVs, all that kind of stuff, all from this little tablet that was just sitting on the counter.
There is a learning curve.
Yeah,
a little
bit. But once you were into the thing, it was TV 1, TV 2, TV 3, or whatever, and they hadn't labeled them or anything. I'm assuming you could probably.
Yeah, because that's how we program it, how the people want it, because we can set it up individually.
Yeah.
And I always try to tell people too, don't overthink it.
or do you try to?
Because we are in a very complicated industry. It's not simple what we do. It's not like 30 years ago where you bought a television, you hooked up to an antenna, and like when I was a kid, I was the remote control.
Yeah,
I had to go up and change the channels and change the volume,
or hold bunny ears and put your arm up
yep,
over here
stand
with
there with
aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil on my head.
We still had that. Yeah, I grew up in that day and age, man. Yeah, I mean, we weren't getting internet until I was in college.
Yeah,
I wonder what that must have been like.
Yeah, how did we survive?
Yeah, how did you live without cell phones and tablets and all this stuff? Yeah.
So a lot of people come in and they overthink it. I'm like, it can be simple if you want it to be simple. We can make it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and it kind of depends on how much you have built into it too.
True.
Are you guys doing much with Bluetooth stuff or not really?
Not necessarily. No, mostly Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi,
yeah.
Easy and everything works on it and stuff. Bluetooth has much more limited range too.
And Wi-Fi too. The problem we have is if you live out in the country, not easy Wi-Fi out in the country.
True.
In the city, it's fine because you get 500 meg gig, whatever speed you're getting off your provider, but out in the country can be tough.
Yeah, especially if you're on satellite internet and whatnot else.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys ever integrate like thermostats and all that kind of jazz?
We can. It can be like Nest thermostats or something that we've worked with in the past, and
just
Google
put
Homes.
the app on the tablet and run it
a day.
Yeah, we use a Nest thermostat up at our cabin, and it's pretty sweet because you can we can turn it on when we're going up there. Hey, we want 68 degrees when we arrive,
Yeah.
Boop, and before we leave Green Bay, before we're gonna lose the good signal, we turn the temperature up to whatever we're desiring, and we show up and it's there. The Nest thermostat, Ecobee thermostat, some of these things are really more of the smart type technology because
that's considered smart technology.
Yeah,
yes, definitely.
Yeah. Because when we're not there, if we forget to change the temperature and they don't detect any movement, it automatically adjusts itself down to a what's called eco mode to save money on it, or if there's problems in the system, it sends us alerts and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of does things on its own without us interacting with it at all. Mm-hmm. But it also is very easy to interact with, much like the tablets and things that you guys
Well, I picked
use.
up these switches at Christmas time where I plug my Christmas lights in outside. Sure. And in the house, and there's an app on my phone, and I set it up on the app with a timer, and the lights turn on and off. Yeah. 4 they turn on, 11 they turn off.
That's awesome.
That's my favorite thing of being able to use that.
Yeah, and even from work, I could turn lights on and off and mess with my wife while she's sitting there.
You can set scenes on those as well. You can change them to music.
So. And all it was a little cube. You know,
just plug the cord into it. Yeah. Download the app. You're
done.
Good to go.
Yeah, that's considered smart.
That is. I mean, as far as the extent of smart technology, I think we're just scratching the surface.
Oh, totally.
I mean, and it's only going to get more complicated, I think, but we got to try to keep it realistic and user friendly when we're improving this stuff. You can't figure out how to use it, it's not going to do any good. If it's a pain in the butt to try to work through the app and do all these other things, and you got to sign up for this, and you're going to get all these alerts, and you're not going to want to do it.
But it is getting better. Like in our world, 20 years ago, you had to have an amplifier. You had to have a wall plate to go up to and touch what you wanted to listen to. Yep. Change the volume on it. You had to go all this sequence of things you had to do. Now I can set you up with a company called Sonos is one of our best selling products. It's a streaming music device. Yeah. So you download an app on your phone, and I can pick whatever music I want to hear. Like I have an amplifier, Sonos amp in my basement hooked up to outdoor speakers.
Sure.
I could literally go home and sit on my deck tonight, get out my Sonos app and play. I want to play this outside. Done. Nothing,
cool.
No buttons to turn on, no switches, no volume
controls. We go into some old houses where they still have that big wall plate on there where you
the intercom
rooms, the intercom. But they had tuners in them and stuff, and you could play music through them and
tiny little speakers.
Everybody's always curious. Does that thing work? And I'm
like, record players that drop out of the wall.
Yeah,
my dad's house still has that in Tulsa.
Yeah, it still has it.
Still has it in there. Speakers are still in the wall.
Does it work?
It doesn't work anymore, but when we first moved in there, it worked.
Showpiece.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very
nostalgia.
Cool. Yeah. Yes, that is cool.
Do you guys do like in-wall speaker systems, I'm assuming, and stuff like that?
Yep, in-wall, in-ceiling, conceal them. The cool part now is the grills are magnetic. They're not those snap-on ones, so they just pop on and off real simple.
You can break little plastic pieces and
bingo.
Stuff.
Yeah, you can paint them. Just don't overpaint them because otherwise you don't hear anything coming out of it.
You're limiting the sound coming out of it and stuff like that. Yes. Yeah. What's your guys' work area? How far do you guys go?
We did a job. The furthest one we did was up in Sister Bay.
Really? So all up in Door County?
Yeah, and then we've done some Illinois work.
Yeah, so somebody goes up and does all the planning, and then you guys send the crew
me.
up there with all... That's you. You do all the planning, and then send the guys up with all the stuff.
I mean, he didn't just buy a 32-inch TV.
No, that's not... No,
we're not going to deliver a 32-inch TV up to Sister Bay, but this was a pretty big system, and it was a past customer of ours. He had a cabin up there. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So when you guys... If somebody were to come in the showroom... when we're talking about Flanners audio, you're talking about mainly in the showroom is going to be audio and television equipment, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, we have a showroom with Sony LG, Samsung TVs. We carry audio systems, Marantz speakers we have throughout the store, Sonos throughout the store. So when you come in, we could show you all the products that we have, and then I typically schedule like an in-home consultation where I'll come out to your house and we'll design a system for you.
Yeah. So you guys like an architect would design a house and design where the wires go and where all the stuff is and
whatever your budget is, we can fit within your budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the coolest thing about what Flanners does is all the wires, they're not going to have a bunch of wires hanging all over
You won't
the
see
place.
wires.
Yeah.
I hate wires.
They're all going to be concealed, and you're not going to see that kind of stuff, which is cool,
Except in the utility room where nobody goes because we dump everything in
that's
there.
where you put
We
everything.
keep it clean, of course. But
Yeah, well, not like the phone industry. We always laugh when we go into the basement of houses and stuff where they have hard lines and stuff. There'll be just this rat nest of wires with cable TV and phone all in. And one of the guys that I was looking at the house for it, I was like, yeah, this rat nest of wires here. And the guy who actually was in the phone industry, and he goes, dude, that's job security. I'm like, what? Job security? He's like, yeah, because then nobody else can figure it out except for me.
No.
Nobody knows what that white wire is, that red wire is, and they're just all jumbled together, They don't know that they don't do anything.
Yeah, they're just there for show.
They're just there for show. They're extra wires, But, job security. And I'm like, dude, really? So
in
I
our
use that
world,
joke
too,
a lot.
that's actually getting to be the case because it's getting less and less where just the general consumer can do it.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's getting harder for the general public to understand what's going on.
But when I see homeowner installed jobs, it's not clean. And it doesn't look nice.
I've ran into
yes,
that.
they can still go to the store and buy a lot of the same stuff you guys can.
Yes.
But it's the whole installation that makes...
Well, the setup is key, too. Like, you could mount a TV on a wall. It's not difficult to do, but to get it set up properly so it really produces a good picture, good sound.
Yep. Not have to use 15 remote controls, all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Right.
it makes a difference.
It does.
And it's not that you guys are talking about a ton of money, but it's
it doesn't have to be.
To make it the interaction with you and your technology in your home easier. It's always a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
Keep it simple.
worth an investment. I mean, to not have the headache when everybody's there to watch the Packer game and you can't get the Packer game started, isn't what you want to go through. But when Flanners sets it up, it's push buttons on the tablet and boom.
There's a Brewer game on today?
What?
Yeah.
Already?
First play
Spring
today.
training?
Yeah, first game.
Nice.
I thought the pitchers and catchers were just there still.
They were just there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they actually play today at 2 o'clock
Holy cow.
against the
Are you
Dodgers.
guys seeing more Bluetooth speakers now for surround sound, or is it still all wired?
Mostly Wi-Fi. Yeah,
Wi-Fi?
mostly Wi-Fi. There's still the Bluetooth piece where you can, but then you have to have music on your phone or have to have the capability of having Wi-Fi so you can stream it from your device to the device. Mostly Wi-Fi systems, not as much Bluetooth.
Well, and the Wi-Fi, you can stretch throughout the whole house. Bluetooth, you're going to be, 15 feet?
Yeah, it has limitations.
20 feet?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even if you have a big house, you could Wi-Fi extenders and all that kind of stuff. As long as it's set up properly,
Yes.
those systems can work great. Yeah.
Well, they do it. There again is limitations because we did a house. I'll never forget this where we had Wi-Fi in one room and we couldn't get it in the other. Literally couldn't get it. And in between there was a closet, and the closet had a giant steel gun cabinet in it, and that just swamped the Wi-Fi. So we literally had to do a hardwire underneath to get it to that other room.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
When you basically piggyback all those Wi-Fi signals off of each other, you don't really lose strength at all.
Not with a good system. You can with
If you use
junky
inferior
ones.
products.
Inferior products, you
Yeah.
get inferior results.
Yep. But when you link them together, the ability to, as long as the bubble touches the other bubble,
Yes.
not just barely, but a little by.
See, you and me are on the same page because I always call it a bubble because that's what it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a bubble. So if I can get this bubble to hit this bubble, now that bubble is that much bigger.
So in this picture here, you're seeing a house, and you can see all those Wi-Fi bubbles need to interact with each other, and then you can transfer the Wi-Fi signal, even though it's only on one side of the house, all the way over to the garage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if your house is big, you might have 5 of these bubbles, as long
not-
as the bubbles interact with each other.
Not just across. It's a round bubble, not just a this way bubble.
Yeah. So up the second floor,
Yep.
third floor. This is the Wi-Fi extender out of our hallway. We would put it on the wall like that normally. And,
So they do need power.
Yep, you gotta have power to it.
Yep.
So you gotta put it near an outlet of some kind. But basically, because Tammy was getting not good internet signal up in her far corner of the house over here, I put this in there, and I just had to figure out what the distance was that my router was putting out.
Yep.
So that I made sure this bubble was touching that bubble, and next thing you know, Tammy had good internet or better internet.
And we try to stress too, like a new construction, if you can put the hub in the middle of the house, the modem, the central part,
You know how much sense that makes?
a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I try to talk. I was doing a consultation out out at a brand new build over in Aaron, and the plumber was there, and the HVAC guy was there, and the insulating guy was there, and I'm like, why is the furnace all the way on this side of the house? You have a 4,000 square foot house, and you're gonna try to duct hot air all the way over through cold ductwork all the way over to the other side of the house. Why did you guys not put this thing in the middle? Well, there's stuff in the middle. I'm like, yeah, this is the stuff that should have been in the middle, you know,
right?
And so what they ended up doing was actually adding a secondary furnace, but this is their 4,000 square feet in air, and they're in a different price point, you know. Yes. But still, I'm like, it would make so much more sense to put the water heater in the middle of the house, put the furnace in the middle of the house. Yep. You know, put your Wi-Fi in the middle of the house. Have all that stuff tapped to the middle, and then you just have to branch out from there. All your branches are going to be shorter. You're going to have faster hot water. You're going to have faster heat. You have more consistent heat and more consistent internet and Wi-Fi and all that kind of jazz, too.
Think of that when you're building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell your builder that.
Absolutely. Now, as far as Wi-Fi goes, generally what we're talking about with Wi-Fi is speeds from 100 to 500 megabytes per second, and that's a download speed. Upload speeds of 10 to 25 megabytes per second is pretty good for just about anything.
It's actually up to a gig now.
Is it up to a gig you can get now? Yeah. But if you wanted to do a speed test on what your current internet is, you can go to Google, you can type in speed test, you go to Spectrum. Spectrum has a speed test, and you can find out what your upload and download speeds are. And if you're, thinking that your internet is slow, the closer you are to that 100 or 0, or the closer you are to that 10, instead of being on the other side of it, you may want to look at increasing your internet speed, or maybe you have to get a better router, or maybe you have to get a better modem. There's options out there to up that, and like he said, up to a gig now. That's pretty crazy. Here in our house, we're at about that 400 megabytes per second on our.
It's not like old Wired when you loaded up a picture and you watched it.
Yeah, exactly. It used to be able
Don't nobody go on the phone.
Yeah, make and you can still be on AT&T or like with a DSL system. You can be on like we were talking about out in the country, can be a little bit difficult with Wi-Fi and stuff.
Satellite
you can be on satellite. Yeah. I mean HughesNet, and there's lots of different options out there as far as satellite goes. Not the greatest of speeds in DSL or satellite, but your fastest is probably almost always going to be cable internet.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah,
because we can't live without it.
It can't, well, I don't know how we'd operate without it. I mean, Dustin's young. We were talking about the internet, and he's like,
"Do you remember AOL?
How did you guys live without the internet?
Getting yelled at to get off the phone,
get off the
internet. I need to make a phone call.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm
playing
on the internet.
Sims. Sorry.
Yeah, I went through high school without internet, man. It was. Yeah, I mean, we had typewriter class still.
Typewriter.
We had a library too. We went to.
Libraries are still they're being used. Like Tammy's at her school where she teaches. They still have like a multimedia room, and it's just changed significantly. Do they still have books? Yeah, but not as many.
Everything's on tablets now. All my kids have tablets.
They read off their tablet. Or
6 years old.
Card catalog. Do you know what a card catalog?
I do. I remember that you pull them out and you have to go through them.
Yeah. I confess, I still get the paper every morning.
Do you?
Because I love that hand.
That's a nostalgia.
It really is.
Cut out a recipe. Cut out a sports article.
I'm surprised that they're still sending them out with how much it's changed, but I'm with you there.
Well, and with the newspapers, they're doing the print, but they're also doing the online
digital stuff.
It's all about advertising, and where you get the ads from and stuff. But Journal Sentinel still holding on, But I think it's ultimately going to come down to just a couple of your big papers like the New York Times and some of these other ones, USA Today and that kind of stuff, depending on if Journal can hold out.
Magazines I really don't get anymore, but I used to get Sports Illustrated every week. But
yeah, we
now I have ESPN.
Yeah, I get Golf Magazine, The Helpful Handyman, and This Old House. Yeah, are the only ones that I really get anymore. But we used to get a couple like People. People I heard is stopping production. Like they're not going to be producing.
No more People.
No more People magazine. No more People. Yeah, but Now as far as the technology in your home goes, extending your Wi-Fi, you guys, that we just were talking briefly about. But if you don't have a good signal to begin with, you're not going to get. It's not going to.
You can't make it better.
You can't make it better.
No.
But by having a good extender, you can basically transfer the exact same speeds that you're having at your main router out to your extended
throughout
areas.
The house.
Yeah, throughout the house and even outside. You can get on your patio and stuff.
Well, like you were saying, you have. So the house, and then if I have a garage over here, I can put an extender here, and I can put one here, and as long as they connect, I now have it out here.
Yep. How complicated is it for just any DIYer to install one of those and connect to their system?
Literally, again, and there's an app, and then you plug it in, and you follow the instructions on the app. It connects to your hardwired Wi-Fi, and away you go.
Otherwise, they just call Flanners.
Bingo.
Flanners.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. So this is just a really big, massive old router.
It's a monster.
And this is a Wi-Fi extender. Usually what they'll have you do is they'll have you start them next to each other like that, and then you would leave. This would be where it's going to stay, and this you would go and put out to your location, and you would test your speed. And as long as you're getting the good speed, that's the same as this, you're in that bubble. There's not like a sensor that can tell you how far your bubble goes out,
Correct.
But they'll generally give you a distance as what's reasonable to expect out of this piece of technology. And you don't want to have the bubbles barely touching. You want to have the bubbles interacting by a good 5
They need to connect good,
feet.
strong.
Yeah. That as that signal buffers a little bit, you're not going to lose signal and stuff.
And the company that we carry literally will tell you when you put this piece out there, it'll say whether it's good or not. Like, nope, you need to move it. It's not right.
Oh, okay. So it'll tell you get closer. You're not getting good enough signal from there. Yeah, and that's all built into the app.
Yep.
Yeah,
very setup.
Cool. Very cool. As far as internet speeds go, you guys, Wi-Fi is great, but if you want speed, you got to be hardwired.
Got to be hardwired. Yeah,
getting an i3 cable and stuff, or a fiber cable. That's
Cat
where
6,
you're gonna get your
Cat 7, whatever they're up to now.
Whatever it's up to. Yeah, I mean you got just so much faster speed when you're talking about hardwired versus Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi is still not bad.
And if you're building, wire is cheap. Do it during construction.
Yeah,
have the electrician or else pull Cat 5 everywhere.
Yeah, if you're building, you can. It's really easy to access all the walls and stuff like that. Just a matter of drilling a couple of holes and running things through. Lots of times, builders will let you come in the process and put your own wires in if you want.
I helped my father-in-law do that in his new house. He's a big IT guy, and we ran all of it, all of his rooms, everywhere.
Yeah, very cool. But yeah, hardwired, there is no faster internet as far as that goes. And then as far as Wi-Fi and security goes, they usually have built-in password stuff. And as long as your Wi-Fi password is reasonable, I guess that's the best.
Don't use your name.
Don't use your name. Don't use the word password. Should not be the password.
Password 123.
Yep. You ultimately want to make sure that you're just using a good password. That's really all you can do. I mean, there's all kinds of hackers out there, and if somebody wants to get in, they're going to get in. It's not, there's limitations to what you can do and still exist. If you're hardwired everything, you're not using any Wi-Fi signal at all, then hey, then you're good. But I don't know how today you could operate your home reasonably without the Wi-Fi signal running through your house.
I've heard of people like that, but
you don't see them very often, But I mean, just on your phone, making your phone work better in your house and stuff, making your phone calls go smoother, and having the internet without having to use all your minutes on your plan.
But one thing we're finding out too is a lot of people are streaming like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and then they'll hook an antenna up to their TV for local channels.
Oh, we do at home.
We
don't have cable. We use YouTube TV.
Yeah, like an
YouTube TV Plus. Yeah, it's another good one for locals.
Yep. That is some home technology for you guys. Little techs and tips and all kinds of fun stuff there. If you have any questions or anything like that, go to our website, helpfulhomeinspector.com. You can put those in there. We'll make sure to get those answered for you. But hopefully you got a little bit out of that segment. Dave, thanks for coming out today, man.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Dave's got to go open up the store and be ready for all the customers that are going to be
watching today.
They're going to flood the store with people.
I better get there on time.
Yeah. But really appreciate it, man. If you guys are looking for a best router,
we carry a company called Eero, EERO.
Is that what you use?
Yeah, they're the most efficient that we've come across.
They're newer too.
Yeah.
They're
really nice.
There's always the standby like Linksys and some of these other brands that have been around for a long time. But some of those newer technology like Eero and there's a couple of other good ones out there that really are taking the industry by storm because they're not only their price point, but their functionality is much higher. These guys they've been kind of stuck in the mold.
Like the Eero app, you can literally turn off a zone. So if your kid's misbehaving, sorry, no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I need to get that.
Yeah. And while you could do that with a Linksys system, it's hard. It's their interaction and operating system is much more difficult to operate. Not as nearly as user friendly as some of the new stuff coming out. So very cool. Well, thank you very much, sir, for coming out. Appreciate it. If you need anything from Flanners Audio and Home Entertainment, they have their Grafton store. They also have their West Dallas store. We have their information up on the website. You can get a hold of them via a phone call or stopping by. Do they? Nobody really contacts you via email or anything, right?
Yeah, we have. You can email me. We have our website, flanners.com. You can go to our website and see everything that we carried, and you can call us or email us from there as well. We have a chat on the website,
okay,
so you can
cool.
chat with us as well.
Well, thanks for coming out today. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Why don't you head out and go get that store open, and we'll
Take the flood of
we'll-
customers.
Exactly. We'll get this video up on Monday and podcast and stuff up. So yeah, it should
Awesome.
be cool. Well,
Appreciate
thanks for
you having
coming
me
out,
over.
buddy. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you much.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Yep.
So let's get into what we normally start off our show with. We're going to get into the defect of the week. So the defect of the week this week, we're going to be talking about deck systems, and we come across decks that have lots of problems with their systems. And decks are something that lots of times we'll see homeowners get into trying to do their own decks and that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. However, when you do your deck wrong, it can be catastrophic. Not only like financially, but it can cause lots of personal injury and all kinds of stuff. Peter, can you bring up the computer? So when a deck is not built properly, what you're looking at is a system that will fail. Okay, it's just a matter of when and how. Okay, so deck systems are constructed with different pieces and elements in mind to make sure that the system is going to be secure, it's going to be safe, it's going to be functional, and all that kind of jazz. And when it comes to the decks, probably the most key pieces that we need to be concerned about are points where we're attaching to structure, where we're supporting loads and weights. Okay, so we're talking about your ledger board, we're talking about your switch computer. We're talking about your beams and column systems and stuff like that. Here you can see on this picture
It's a beaut.
yeah. So this is where the ledger board would have been, not properly attached to the house. They still have the vinyl siding underneath the wood. I mean, seriously, wow, come on. Just pretty crazy. This one, the ledger board not attached to the house properly, and the bottom of the deck. Could you imagine if you had your family and friends out on that thing? Holy man! I mean, not only is it a lawsuit, coming your way. I mean,
Right.
from many insurance companies and stuff like that, but you're going to be all kinds of problems here. And this person, you can see that by the way that they attached their beam to their column, they didn't know what they were doing. You can see the ledger board wasn't attached properly. At least here they took off the siding, and put the piece of wood on there. But
Some 3M tape to hold it on.
I don't know, duct tape, man. Yeah, another one, ledger board falling off, and the beam not supporting the loads. So many horror pictures out there of bad deck systems. Okay, if you're gonna build a deck, start the process correctly. Okay. Yes, you can go to Menards. Yes, you can go to Home Depot. Yes, you can talk to the 16-year-old kid that works in the lumber department and ask them questions about decks. Is that the person I would trust? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. You want to get a hold of a deck professional or something like that to at least have them help you draw up a plan. Okay. If all they are there to help you is draw up a plan, you're going to be a step ahead and not making the types of mistakes that will lead to a catastrophic deck failure. Okay. When it comes to building your deck, there's lots of good information out there. You can learn a lot and all that kind of stuff, but start the process correctly by getting a building permit. Okay. Once you start that building permit process, you are going to be required to build in the basic safety features that need to be present in your deck. That building inspector is not going to let you get away with not building your deck safely. They're not there to hinder the process. A lot of people, I don't want to, they're at the pain in the butt. They just want to get my money. Okay, in some cases, yes. When a building inspector wants $25 to inspect you putting in your garbage disposal, yes, that's a bunch of hot BS. Okay, that should not be, that's ridiculousness. However, when it comes to decks, when it comes to home construction, when it comes to roof replacement, those are great areas where you need to get that building permit to make sure that it's being done properly and meeting basic safety expectations. The building permit is just checking for the basics that need to be present in a safe deck. Okay, when it comes to decks, there's a lot of pieces and elements that are built into it to make sure that the deck stays stable, okay? Especially if you're doing an elevated deck where you're up, 10 feet off the ground or whatever,
Right.
which you see all the time, okay? If you're building a deck that far off the ground, you got to take into account, how you're attaching the house and the deck to each other. If you aren't, you can't just drive a couple of screws in. If you're not careful with that, you're going to end up with one of these catastrophic depth situations where the house is falling away from the building, okay? So when we talk about attaching the house to the deck, okay? So here you can see where we put some lag bolts through, and the ledger board is on there, and you basically are securing one structure to another structure. And if that connection is weak at all, that's when that back of that deck's going to fall down as soon as you put any people on it and stuff. You're going to have injuries, you're going to have all kinds of problems. And we also can see in here, we need to flash things properly. If we don't put the proper flashings and stuff on here, Okay, so we can see flashings going on behind the wood here, coming down over the top of the ledger, having a drip edge come out here. Okay, if you don't have that, that ledger board can start to rot. If that ledger board starts to rot, you're again in one of those catastrophic deck situations. So we need to make sure that things are flashed properly, running water to the appropriate locations to make sure that the wood that's a part of that structure stays in good shape. Okay. As far as the next piece goes, moving away from the ledger board is getting out into our beam. Okay. So lots of times back in the day when you're building a deck, you'll see someone attach a beam that looks like this. Okay. A 4x4 or 6x6 with 2 sandwich boards on it and a couple of lag bolts shoved through it. The shear strength on those lag bolts is not very good. The shear strength on those lag bolts is weak. And if you put a whole bunch of weight on there, those lag bolts are going to shear, they're going to break, you're going to have all kinds of problems. And the deck by itself, you're talking about probably 5,000 to 8,000 pounds of lumber for a 10 by 15 deck. Okay, not a big deck, but it's probably 5,000 to 8,000 pounds of lumber and materials that are in that deck. And then you go start stacking a bunch of people on it. Okay, you got
furniture and grills
and everything else. Yeah, I mean, you got 10 people on there. Let's assume an average weight of 200 pounds. You're talking about another 2,000 pounds on that deck. Okay, so we got to be careful when we're attaching the deck to the beam. The beam needs to be resting on the piece of lumber. Tammy, can you switch over to the computer again for me? So this is an example of a bad one. This is an example of a good one. So on this one here, we can see the beam that goes across there is resting on the piece of structure that's the column that's going down to the ground. And then you can see that red stuff on top is actually the waterproof barrier. So that's basically going to deflect the water off the top of the piece of wood down and around it so it can go away and dry out. So that's a good example of what a good beam situation might be. So here's another good beam connection. You can see where they have the 2 pieces of outer rim joist resting on the 6x6. Okay, and that transfers any loads from above directly down into that column and down into the soil where it needs to go. Okay, you can see also in this example they're using the proper joist hangers and stuff like that. So lots of good pieces and parts built into this thing. The transfer of load is what you got to be worried about. So how's that weight getting down to the ground? And if it's not through strong, stable structure, it's going to be a problem. All right. So that's the beam. The next thing we get into is how the columns are transferring that load into the soil. So this is one of the newer things. This is a diamond pier. So these diamond piers require no digging of any kind. You basically put this diamond pier down. Let me get to it. So this is what a bigger one looks like. You basically put this piece of concrete on the ground there. Sometimes you put a little bit of gravel underneath it, but you're going to drive these 4 poles down into the ground through these holes, and then you put these little rubber caps over the top of them. You need to be able to have a pipe, though, so that the inspector can stick their tape measure down into there. But that's another good beam connection there. You can see that sucker right over the top of that using good brackets and stuff like that. And then where's another diamond pier one? So this is what it looks like. So you can see those pipes, or they're calling them pins here, are going down into the soil. And then you can put your column right on top of that sucker. So there you can see where they put the bracket to hold to support the column right here. And there's a lag bolt, not a lag bolt, it's a anchor bolt in the middle there. Really cool stuff. And I'm starting to see them on more and more decks. I was over at Eastside Lumber the other day, and they are selling like hotcakes. Like people are buying them left and right. No dealing with messing with big rocks in the ground or anything like that. You do still need to be cautious that you're having Diggers Hotline come out and that they're making sure that there's no underground power lines or underground gas lines and stuff like that in the area. But man, is it making a deck work faster. From a guy that used to build decks. That was my summer job. I had a quality fence and deck. We built decks and fences and exterior structures and stuff. Man, I can't tell you, I was so sick of rocks. Hitting those rocks with that big breaker bar gave me carpal tunnel and all kinds of other issues, you know. The 3 places that you cannot make mistakes, okay? Your ledger board, your beam to column connection, and your soil to column connection. Those 3 points, if you mess up a joist, the deck's not coming down. Okay, you mess up a joist or 2. Okay, the deck's gonna have a problem that's fixable, but odds of somebody getting injured significantly is very low. If you have a strong ledger connection, you have a strong beam connection, you have a strong connection to the soil, odds are your deck's going to be nice and stable. Okay, but you got to follow basic building practices, and if you want to make your deck cool, better, use different type of decking materials and stuff. That's all great. That's aesthetics. That's not function. Function is strong ledger board, strong beam connection, strong connection to the ground, okay? Use your proper hangers and things like that. We're going to do a whole thing on decks. We have a deck guy coming in a couple months or whatever. We're going to just do nothing but break down decks. And if you don't know what deck flashing is, if you don't know what a lateral support strap is, Tammy, you can put the computer back up for me. That thing right there, if you don't know what a lateral support strap is or what it does or how to put it in, if you don't know how to do that, you shouldn't be building your deck. Okay? That is an essential piece. And yes, anybody can go to the store, anybody can buy a bunch of screws and a bunch of wood and go to their home and build something. Okay? But you're going to put your family, friends, and kids and relatives and everybody else on this deck, and you're going to put their life at risk. You can save money, but you need to be willing to spend some money to get some professional advice. The deck construction guys, they'd be happy to come out and you pay them a couple $100 to help you draw up your plan or show them your plan, and they'll make tweaks and corrections to it and make suggestions. Probably the best couple $100 you're going to spend. And decks aren't cheap. I mean, you build a deck, you're talking $5 to $10,000 at least, you know? So that is our defect of the week. If you're going to build a deck this summer, start planning now and make sure you follow all the procedures to build a nice, safe deck that you and your family can enjoy for years to come. The next thing we have is save $1. Can we give you a suggestion to save $1 today? I'm going to suggest that you change your insurance company. I know.
Do you know who my wife is? I can't do that.
Yeah, I know your wife's an insurance agent. Okay, but even your wife as an insurance agent will tell you that the new customers are always going to get the best rates.
Yeah.
All things considered equal. Same work history, same credit score, same income level, okay? If you're a new customer to a company, you're going to get the better price, okay? And one of the easiest and probably the smoothest ways to do that is work with an insurance broker. If you work with an insurance broker, they can work with a number of different insurance companies to find you the best price, and it just makes the job so much easier. All right, and you don't pay up for working with an insurance broker, but by changing your insurance company every couple of years, whether it be 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is you're comfortable with, you're probably going to end up saving some money. Okay, and even if you go out and get all your quotes, okay. What's the worst thing that happens? You find out that you're paying a good rate for your insurance and you're good. So go and look into changing your insurance company, get a couple of quotes for your home and auto insurance. And I tell you, if you do that, if you do what I'm suggesting you do today and you don't save $100, I'd be surprised.
And I will say this, if that's not a path that you want to do, the best thing to do is ask your insurance agent for a review on your insurance coverage. That way you always know what's going on with it, what you're paying for, if you're not comfortable. But yeah, going with a broker, you're going to be able to shop around, get a lot of different options. So that's also a good option.
Yeah, and you just want to make sure you're always comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
Make sure your coverages are the same in each scenario and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes, like for Tammy and I, we had a situation where Tammy got in an accident, and we were with West Bend Mutual, and West Bend Mutual was great. They called us that day. They were concerned about Tammy. They made sure our car was taken care of and everything. We had to do very little to take care of ourselves when it came to that accident, because they were the customer service was out of this world. Okay, and if that is worth a couple $100, and honestly, it probably is worth a couple $100 a year to have good customer service and a company that knows is going to answer the phone and help you out and make sure that you're taken care of properly. It's got some value to it, and that's not something to discard for just the bottom line. But changing your insurance company occasionally, regretfully, is kind of what the marketplace requires in order to get those best rates and things like that. All right. So that is our save $1 suggestion of the week. The next thing we've got is our co-host question. And Dustin recently, being that we're talking about home technology, just had something put in his basement. What'd you put in your basement, dude?
You talking about my screen and projector?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I installed I mean, it's not really installing much, but I have a 120-inch screen with a projector on there, and mostly got it so that I could watch football in the basement and not drive my wife nuts upstairs with it. But it's great. I love it. It was affordable. I mean, when those first came out, they were insanely expensive.
Yeah.
So very easy to install, but I love it. Love watching the football games on it.
For sure. Yeah, we put out when we moved into our house 13, 14 years ago, and we were looking at large screen TVs, and I'm like, oh, large screen TVs. It was like 2009, 2010. I'm like, they were $2,000 for a 60-inch television.
I think I paid less than $200.
I was like, holy cow. And so I was like, babe, look at this. I can put in a 150-inch projection screen in the basement with a projector and stuff. We already had surround sound speakers and stuff, so I could just reuse that. Yeah. And I did it all for $1,400. I'm like, awesome. that was the way to go. So we still have it. It's still working great. We don't use it as much as we probably should, but we love watching movies on it and having the Packer games and all that kind of stuff. We have a remote control. We can push, make the screen come down. I'd love to have Flanners come out and do like that tablet thing for me, man, because right now I've got like 15 remote controls to get the system up and running with all the lights and the projector and the surround sound and all, and then to get the YouTube TV up on the Roku and turn off the PS5, and it's like, holy wow, it's
way more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that kind of stuff, but having it all in a tablet like Dave's talking about, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. All right, so the question giveaway this week. I know we didn't really talk about it, but there is one way that in 15 minutes you can save money on your gas and electric bill. One way that you can save money on your gas and electric bill in 15 minutes. What is it, people? If you know the answer, put it in there. I would love to hear that from you. If you can guess it, I have a Nest thermostat that's coming your way. Ooh, Nest thermostat. What is the one thing that you can do in 15 minutes in your house today? Every single one of you can do this in your house today. I guarantee you have this device in your house, and it would take you about 15 minutes to change some settings on it and save you a lot of money on your heating and cooling bills. Now, as far as the mystery box battle goes, so you've all seen this from us before. We have 2 mystery boxes. Dustin, can you break out the mystery boxes, please, sir?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so as before, we have 2 similar materials in here that are a part of the same realm of a product, and we're going to open our box, see what we have, and we're going to try to convince you, Joe and Jane public, that our product is the best for this application. Would you like to feel the boxes, test, shake them a little bit, see what you got? Don't. As soon as you open it, you get it.
I'll take this one.
You'll take that one? All right. You want to reveal what you have in your mystery box, Mr. Dustin?
Pink Dove soap.
I have 3-in-1 oil. I put it in a baggie so it didn't leak in the thing. I have 3-in-1 oil that you would, put in your bike chain. Are you confused by this?
No, I think I get where this is going.
Okay. We're talking about 2 products that can be used for lubrication around your home, and I am going to convince you why oil is better, and you're going to convince Joe Public and Jane Public why Dove soap is better.
Okay.
They're probably you guys are probably like, Dove soap? What is this guy talking about? It's an
old school trick, I think.
It's an old school trick, but it works. But oil is used for so many things. I mean, you can use it on your bike chain. You can use it for squeaky locks. You can use it for squeaky hinges. You can use it on window hardware and stuff, especially if you have casement windows and stuff like that. It's just used all over the place. You can get a little pin needle top on it. This one doesn't have the pin needle top. This is just like your regular squirt top. But there's lots of different uses for this oil, and it is basically just 5W30 or whatever in a jar, in a container. But it's been used for a long, long time. It's a great lubricant, and it flows where you want it to flow and all that kind of stuff. It's been around for a long time. It's easy to use. It's not messy at all. The soap. What are you going to do with soap? Really?
Well, there's a lot of things you can do with soap. You can obviously lubricate things. I've seen that it has nothing to do with your home, but you can actually lubricate a squeaky serpentine belt on your car to quiet it down.
Won't that make it slip?
No, you can lubricate on the back side of it, and it's going to quiet it down on the pulleys that it's running on. You can use this again for lubricating windows. It smells good. It's probably environmental friendly for the most part. I mean, it's not
use
oil.
it on your body.
And then when you're done, you go soak in the hot bath, scrub up. You're going to come out smelling like pink Rosa. So
Is that what this flavor?
Why not? It's probably cheaper than the oil.
Maybe. I don't know.
This has got moisturizer
Cost
cream
is
in
a
it.
factor.
Yeah.
You can't put that in your bike chain.
You sure could.
What?
Yeah, why not? Just grind a little bit in there.
I guess.
Making rosy smells all through the neighborhood.
Yeah, your friends will be like, what the heck are you doing, man? Put it right next to your card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both good products for lubricating things in your home. Both have, I think, different applications where they're better. And you might not think about using soap very often. But if you have a hinge on your door that's squeaking and stuff, pull the hinge pin out, put some soap on it. You could put oil on it. It's a little messier.
Drips a little
runs
more.
down and stuff like that. As far as the Dove soap goes, it is something I recommend a lot in homes because it's easy to remove. It's easy to clean off. It doesn't gather all the dust and dirt and grime that oil is going to catch and hit. But oil is easy to use and it lasts. It's going to work. The oil does evaporate. The Dove soap does not evaporate. It's got lots of oils built into the soap itself. So if you have slider windows, if anything that moves, slides, or doesn't glide well, putting a little bit of soap on it. Soap I think is a good. I like the soap too. She's saying the soap has to win.
Yeah,
I don't think Dustin won the argument. Okay,
I
really
got the best
don't think
product
he did.
though.
But I think it is probably it is good. I think you need to have both. We need to have both. Okay,
The vote is soap because it's always available.
There
People
you go.
typically have it around the house. They don't have to go out and buy the 3-in-1 oil.
True.
That's a good answer.
And one of the things with if you're going to buy soap for lubricant purposes, but using it with something that has more oils in it, like Dove, is the better soap to choose or use. Okay. As far as the soap goes, it lasts a long time. Doesn't really cause any smell issues or anything like that at all. Right. And it's easy to clean off. A little bit of water and it cleans off if you need to clean the area or anything like that. So that is our battle box. Now the next thing we have is in case you missed it. And one of the things in case you missed it is there's something, and I had this at an inspection earlier this week and that's why I'm bringing it up, is that a lot of people, they like skylights. You shouldn't.
Yeah, I had 2 bad ones yesterday.
Oh my gosh. You should not like skylights. Skylights are bad. I don't care whose skylight you're buying. Skylights are bad. Eventually, they're nice at first. They let all that light in. You can see outside. But eventually, they're going to leak. They're going to be a water intrusion problem. They're expensive to fix, expensive to replace, expensive to frame out. And, they always get broken thermal panes because they're subjected to so much heat and the outdoor elements and stuff. Skylights are always a problem, okay? And if they're not a problem today, wait a couple of years, they will be a problem. And they're going to be an expensive problem to correct. The market, however, is switching to a different product called sun tubes. Love them. If you're looking to get natural light in your home, sun tubes are the way to go. They very rarely fail. I've only seen one that had a problem, and it was with the reflective tube that was in the attic where the tape came off, and the tube separated a little bit. All it had to be was taped back together. Cheap. But a sun tube is basically a bubble on the outside of your house that gets flashed. There's not all the different step flashings and joints and grooves and all this other stuff that goes into a skylight. It's just one dome that goes over this mirrored tube essentially, and the mirrored tube transfers that light through the attic space and down into your ceiling, where you would have some sort of a light reflective prism, and that light reflective prism blasts that light out into the room. I've been in rooms at night and
it's lit up by the moon.
It's lit up by the moon, and it feels like the lights are on in the room.
Yeah.
It's that bright. Less problems, less issues. They're cheaper, and sun tubes are really going to take over the market. If you have not seen sun tubes, here in Milwaukee, we have the home show coming up beginning of March, and you can go down there. I'm almost guarantee you they have one of the manufacturers down there selling sun tubes. You can see exactly what we're looking, or go to YouTube, look up sun tubes.
Some of the sun tubes also qualify for certain tax credits as well.
Yeah,
so check that out.
Pretty cool option there. Probably half the price of a skylight, if not less. Just a much better technology. Great retrofit idea too. If you don't build in your skylight when you're building your house, it's a lot of work to box it all out, re-drywall, and cut a hole in your roof, all that kind of stuff. For a sun tube, it's a 2-3 hour installation, and you're very little mess and issues to deal with. So sun tubes might really be a great way to go if you're looking to get some natural light into your home. And also then you don't have that big cavity in the ceiling, like a lot of people do them in the bathrooms, and the skylight in the bathroom has a big cavity in the ceiling. All that moisture from all your bathing and everything's going to go up and into that cavity and just sit and cause issues. Even if this thing's not leaking, it's going to have moisture and mildew issues and all that kind of stuff. And every time I go into a house where they have skylights, there's always fresh paint around the drywall where the skylight is for some weird reason. I don't know.
Just their regular maintenance they do every 6 months.
Exactly. Okay, we always talk about, take care of your house as it needs to be taken care of. But if you're making more maintenance issues, you're going to spend more time taking care of your house than you are enjoying it, which is never the way it's supposed to work. Right. So look into sun tubes, people. It's a great option to get some natural light into your home. The next thing we have is the tip of the week. So the tip of the week is put a water alarm near your sump pump and near your water heater to make sure that you don't have a problem, okay? Now, if your sump pump stops working, you could have a flooded basement. If your water heater springs a leak, you could have a flooded basement. So putting a water alarm in there for $5 to $7 a piece, not very expensive, but it is quick and easy insurance to make sure that you're not going to have a water or flooding issue at all. You always want to make sure to check the slope of the floor. So the basement floor is going to be sloped pretty dramatically, go towards whatever floor drains are around. So you want to make sure to put that water alarm on the down slope. So if your sump pump is here and your slope is coming down this way, you want to put your water alarm over here. And the water alarm basically has two little little wires that sit on the concrete, and or a carpet or whatever you have in your basement, and when water completes that connection, it's like this really loud, and it'll alert you to there being a problem with your basement with water. Okay, now a water heater, when you're talking about a water heater leak, you're not just talking about leaking 50 gallons of hot water. You're talking about leaking the first 50 gallons, the second 50 gallons, the next 50 gallons. It just keeps running. When you're talking about a sump pump that stops working during a rainstorm, guess what? It stopped working here, but it's not going to work the whole rest of the time, and eventually you could get water flowing out of that sump crack. So definitely an important thing to make sure that you're protected. Now, as far as the water alarms go, you can get them just about anywhere, any hardware store, any Menards, Home Depot, all that kind of stuff, and lots of places you can go out and get those. Not very expensive, but great cheap insurance to making sure that you're made aware. And as soon as you're made aware, you can take action. You can turn off the water to the house to stop the water heater from leaking, or you can go out and get a shop vac and start slopping up the water, or somebody can do that while you go to the store and get a replacement sump pump. Lots and lots of different options there to save your personal belongings. If your basement gets flooded, you're gonna have to buy a new water heater, you're gonna have to buy a new furnace, you're gonna have all your personal belongings damaged. If your laundry stuff is down there, you're gonna have a damaged washer and dryer. Lots of bad things can come, so make sure you get some water alarms and put them down there in the basement. That is our show for this week, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, we've got Bob Gordy. He's bringing out one of his Yetis with him, John. John is an HVAC technician, and we're going to be talking all about understanding your furnace. Dustin and I are going to be at a conference next Saturday, so I'm going to be on remote with those guys, so this should be an adventure. Tammy's excited about this. She's smiling over there. She's not looking forward to it. This will be our first remote opportunity, so it should be interesting. We're also going to be talking about carbon monoxide and smoke detectors a little bit. Bob's a little bit of an expert in that field. And then because John and Bob both worked John currently is in the trades, and Bob used to be in the trades, we're going to talk about trades as a reasonable career path in today's job market. Great option there. So we're going to get into a little bit of that, asking some guys that actually worked in the trades how that worked out for them and how it could work out for your son or daughter, or for you maybe, even if you're looking for a career change. All right. You guys, I really appreciate you tuning in today. If you haven't been checking out our videos, you go to our YouTube page, Helpful Home Inspector, and you can find us out on YouTube. You also can link us up to us on Facebook. We have our website out there, helpfulhomeinspector.com, with lots of good suggestions for contractors and things like that. Lots of good tips and tricks to help you better maintain and take care of your home. Lots of good stuff in there. Also, if you have any questions that you would like to get us to answer on a Saturday morning show, you can put those questions in on our website. And when you put those questions in, we'll make sure to get on those the next Saturday so we can talk about those with everybody and bring the knowledge to them. Yeah, lots of great stuff on there. Also, our podcast goes up on every Monday, where you can hear the podcast of the show and re-listen to us. But anywhere you get your podcast stuff, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Alexa, whatever it may be, you can go out there and you can get the Helpful Home Inspector. iHeartRadio is probably the one I use the most often, but lots of good stuff out there, you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. This is the Helpful Home Inspector. Remember, you guys, better you take care of your house, better it's going to take care of you. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.